Hello, everybody, and welcome to the new Bat Friends Adventure, episode number 90. Yes, it's actually episode number 90. I am one of your hosts, Chris, alongside the world champion, Joe. It's crack-a-lackin', Joe.
This episode personally offends me, and I'm angry with it, and I'm not happy with this show. And I think this was kind of my breaking point, because I watched the episode after this, and I just didn't care. I was like, sure, whatever's happening is happening. Who cares?
Maybe the show gets better when you're 30 hours in.
Sure.
Have you ever heard the old video game joke?
No.
So it really came about, I'm sure it was happening before this, but it really became part of the public consciousness when Final Fantasy 13 came in.
Okay.
And a lot of people start shitting on it, like in the media side, where this game isn't good, blah, blah, blah. And a lot of them be like, I couldn't finish it because it's bad. And they're right, it is bad. And then the hardcore fans start coming out, and the saying was, it gets really good about 30 hours in. So that became a joke, where it's like, well, maybe it gets good 30 hours in. I don't know.
Yeah, sure.
Because that's when the whole conversation started coming about in reviews journalism.
Yeah.
Giant air quotes journalism. Where, do you have to finish a game to do a review? Do you have to complete it? Because some guys would say no, if a game's shit, I know within X amount of hours.
Right.
And a few guys even wrote in their reviews back then I did not finish this game because it's such garbage.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, there's also because there's the argument to be made in film criticism, and I think even that for something to be so bad to walk out of is, really bad. But when you're talking about games that last more than a day, when you talk about 30-hour games, 40-hour games, to say you have to complete it to review it, no. If even as an individual, if I have subjected myself to 2 hours of gameplay and I hate it, no, I don't care. Well, don't tell me, it gets really good 3 hours in. Okay, then I'm never going to play the good version of this game. I'm only going to play the bad version.
Yeah. I say with TV shows too. You have to, your first episode, your first hour of gameplay, has to be prime. You can no longer do this. You can no longer do Breaking Bad, where you spend a whole season of what is bad the first time you watch it.
Right.
So, because I made it public, I think the first season is bad when you first watch it, but when you see it as a whole picture, it's actually pretty genius. But you can't do that anymore, because after one episode of that, people are going to walk out.
Yeah.
They're not going to come back to your show. And I think it's the same thing with games.
I mean, and that's the thing, especially for genre fiction, people say about Buffy, it gets better in the second season. And it's something, and it's, there is, especially if you're talking about a new production, it's one thing. I would say you can't say that with New Adventures. Because even though it was a new production, you had, as we said, 85 episodes of a show. And even if you did get rid of most of them, well, that's on you. You're not just figuring it out. Mm-hmm. And you can say that for a new production for a TV show, the first season, they got to figure it out. Whether it works or not, to your point, I agree with. But you can at least understand why that would happen. You're figuring out what the show is. You're figuring out your rhythms. But when you're talking about, if you watch the first 4 seasons, it's really good. In the 5th. Okay, cool. I'm not going to watch it.
I agree, especially with sitcoms or anything that's live action in TV.
Yeah.
Sometimes it does take a while. I think it happens a lot more with sitcoms.
Yeah.
And I would count Buffy in kind of with that sitcom-y feel. Whatever, it's when it's not an overarching narrative TV show,
right.
like a Daredevil, or those most Netflix shows nowadays. Yes, it takes a while to get the rhythm in, and it takes, because you're really trying to figure out what connections work and who needs to be so and so is the lead, but who is the second?
Who can we lean on?
Yeah. And that nowadays is much harder, because listen, there's been stuff where I put myself through it, and I agree. Like the first 2 seasons are great, and the third's really good. Like that happens. I'm not saying it doesn't. I'm just saying in today's world, you now need to not do that as much,
right?
Because it's so easy to be like, well, that episode sucked. I'll watch the next thing.
Yeah, you're just not going to survive.
Yeah. And I'll say this, when it comes to movies too, I think it's much easier. I mean, nowadays they can be like fucking 8 hours long, but it's much easier to sit through an hour and a half of bad.
Right, and that was my point too, yeah. Well, it's also, and we might see this change. If you go to the theater, how many people are walking out? You're there, you might as well just sit and watch the rest of the movie. But as we move more towards streaming, I think a lot of that's going to die away because, you know, if I were to watch Wonder Woman 84 and halfway through be like, this is bullshit, I can just turn it off.
All right, so this we're on episode 4 of the new Batman Adventures. This one is titled Double Talk, and is written by Robert Goodman, John Goodman's younger brother, and Kirk Getta. Getta.
There's one thing I was very disappointed by, and I'll skip ahead because I don't fucking care. So, Ventriloquist has a dream. At first, I was really, because I didn't read the description, so it's like Double Talk, and I'm seeing this, and I'm like, what's happening? And then this fucking Jamoke walks through, and I'm like, who the fuck drew this guy? This is a terrible, like, the Ventriloquist had such a great design. And this looks like a kid's drawing.
Well, yeah, and he has a Peyton Manning-esque forehead.
But it's all lines. His hair is just lines.
Yeah.
And he has a black head. Like, what the fuck did you do to the Ventriloquist?
It's a lazy Homer Simpson.
Yeah. It's a little kid's Homer Simpson.
Which is hilarious because Homer Simpson's design to begin with, while iconic, it's somewhat lazy.
Right. So, he gets his rehabilitation papers. And it says, what the fuck's his name? Wesker? Whatever. Who cares? Oh, I was so disgusted with this, I missed the Batman part of his nightmare. Because I was just like, what the fuck am I watching? And then I look back up for the thugs. His papers say, like, you know, whoever Wesker has been found to be, and then it's like, you know, whatever served as rehabilitation. I don't like the Scarface design either. It's awful.
Yeah, why does he have a unibrow?
Why does he have the white suit? It's just... No. Yeah, I think that's right there. Are they going to show it? And I was really hoping that it was going to say has been found completely sane.
Stamp.
Yeah. And Arnold Wesker has been declared, and so it's declared sane and fit or whatever, and then rehabilitation approved. But I'm like, just show the same thing. It's funny.
Yeah, I'm remembering this episode now. I just remember watching it and thinking in my head how disappointed you were the whole time.
Like this, like people can have a disagreement about the character redesigns.
Yes.
This is just objectively a bad redesign. Like he just looks like a fucking toe. Also, I'm going to use the politically correct term. Why is there a little person here? She's like 3 foot tall. Why?
That's a strange decision. I'll give you that. It's a very strange decision.
Especially with what comes up in like 10 minutes. We get Lucius Fox back. He's fine. Like I'll say that about Lucius is fine.
Lucius is just straight pimping.
He's got that fine ass mustache.
He's got his shaving technique down because he's got the lines just perfect. He knows what he's doing.
That's the other thing. I forget what he even said. Just gonna go. Every time Jim speaks, it ages me greatly.
Hi, I'm Bruce Wayne. Who are you?
In this fucking black suit. Look at that. Bruce at least has eyes. And Namor ears.
Oh my god, how great would that be if he just ripped his suit off and used Namor?
It'd be hilarious. Wayne Enterprise, the we people. Bank of Gotham. 24-hour ATM. So we're clearly not in the 40s anymore.
No. Time jump. Told you.
Muggsy and Ox.
Oh, man, they're back.
We heard you was out of stir. So how come you and the boss ain't come back, huh? Like, goons don't just go find somebody else to follow. Come on.
Mr. Scarface is gone.
Hey, what's your rush? To go for your buddies now. All high and mighty. I think it's the same voice actor, though. Because he sounded the same.
Yeah.
Ventriloquist did. Which is good, because I like Ventriloquist's voice. It's just that fucking design. Like, Ox looks the same. He's a big jamoke. Leave him, let him go. I'm Batman.
You can't punch me, my parents are dead.
Batman hasn't done his move yet.
Shake and move. Yeah.
And no one's jumping head first anymore either. Just, it's not the same show.
They lost the heart.
They did! Just all the funny parts. They were great.
Run away! Oh, no, you don't.
Double axe handle smash! I should start calling these fights like they're wrestling matches. Ox never lost his hat. Well, that's what that feels like.
Yeah, so they lean into more of Batman as adept at fight. Like, he's...
Yeah.
Where before, like, yeah, he was adept at fighting, but it was kind of like goofy that he did stupid things.
Yeah, he took his self-defense course.
Yeah, whether it was on purpose or not, it was fun. This seems to be more of like, no, he's a master.
He's the goddamn He has become the goddamn Batman.
Yeah. Oh no, he's having a bad dream again.
Nobody pushes Scarface around. No, he's crying over spilled milk. It was water. It's not milk.
The fades in the show.
I know.
Are really starting to get under my skin.
I'm rehabilitated.
I can go to a park with children. I no longer have to be 6 feet
That
away.
I found really weird, too. Because in his dream, he goes to the park and there's swings and then he's hanging on the park with all the kids. I don't... Like, Scarface had such a good design. And then what do they do to him? I don't like that. It just looks dumb.
In my opinion, like, the unibrow in general just, like, is a bad look.
Yeah.
Like, I think we've all agreed on this as a society. And I know there's an NBA player who's trying to be like, I have a unibrow. Fuck you.
I did not know that.
Yeah. His whole thing is that he has a unibrow. Like, that's his personality in life.
Yeah.
And it bugs me because it's just like, listen, it's...
Arnold.
We've all agreed that it's just no more unibrows.
Right.
That's like the one thing we can all agree on. We can make fun of people for. Dummy.
And I love that, but they definitely lean into that way too much of just Scarface calling him dummy.
Well, yeah, and they did it with the old one, but they're really, really hammering home the double personality thing.
Yeah.
As if we didn't already know.
Right.
See, you should watch TV to get your mind off of it, instead of staying in the dark.
No, he's obsessing over it. He looks like a fucking toe.
He does.
Like...
Toe with a body.
Like, Ventriloquist was such a... In BTS, he was designed so fucking well. Like, he looked like a sad sack, which is what he's meant to look like. But he looked like a This doesn't look like a person. And it annoys me every goddamn time. So I'm like, that's not... Because I literally, like... And there's no other characters that I ever had this reaction to so far. We'll see. But I look at him and go, that's not the Ventriloquist. Like, in my gut, that's what... Every time I see him, I go, that's not the Ventriloquist.
You know what it comes down to? It's the hair.
Yes! And also the glasses, honestly. Because...
The glasses, yes. But if you took away the hair and did a different design with the hair, even with the stupid 5 head and the glasses, you could fix it just by changing the hair.
Right.
We would still have complaints, don't get me wrong. But
that's just it, too, where he has no neck. His neck goes to his head.
Yeah.
It's just, that's what I mean when I say it looks like a fucking toe. Because it's just solid. I warned you guys. You haven't been listening. I'm sorry. If you stop listening, I understand. Come back and join us when we get back to Justice League and shit, because that's a good show.
Oh no, he got away.
World's greatest detective. He's a puppet. Puppets can't run.
Now it's getting real fucked up.
It's just weird.
Batman's chasing. This is gonna be the same vibes as what's her the little girl that he fought the diaper.
Oh, baby doll.
Baby doll.
Yeah. But it's weirder. Because it's supposedly Scarface, so it's not like Baby Doll was like a person.
Yeah.
Scarface has no neck, looks like a dummy because he's a dummy.
Just really, you fell for it again.
It's just
we did this like 3 episodes ago.
World's greatest detective. And then like, why are all these giant statues in this building? To get fucked up.
That I can suspend my belief on that this.
I could if not for the rest of this shitty episode.
That's like the least of my biggest problem right now is why the fuck Scarface the puppet is running around.
Yeah. Like it's one of those things where like when he's in the phone booth, you're obviously like, okay, well somebody's setting it there. But also, who's doing Scarface's voice? Sounds like Scarface. And they're like, but it's not his voice. Because it's not Wesker.
Mm-hmm.
So, who, like, it's... like, it almost would have been better if they had someone actually... a different voice actor do these parts of Scarface. So it's actually a different voice.
Mm-hmm.
And I do. Like, again, for anyone... If this is your first episode... I'm sorry. But I love the Ventriloquist. The Ventriloquist is one of my favorite Bat villains because I think it's so much fun and there's so much to it. And that's why this is making me so angry. Like the idea that someone was trying to drive Wesker crazy to become the Ventriloquist again has merit to it. I get that. But like, I just don't like how they accomplished it.
Yeah.
And what it looks like while they do it.
This always comes across as goofy to me, though, when I can't control my hand.
Yeah. Like... Better look sharp, use mugs. Scarface is back. He's got his little gun. And then we have another little person.
Wow, I missed this whole like subplot.
Oh yeah, no, people. I did. And it annoyed the hell out of me. He steals somebody's milk, which is weird, and their paper, which is not weird but rude.
Dick move.
Yeah. And then he has an Irish accent. Why? I don't fucking know.
You're tall enough, suck it.
Hips McManus. They call him Hips McManus. Who's also obviously bigger than Scarface. Like, he's much bigger than... He's 3 times the size of Scarface. But he was Scarface. Like, it's just...
So Scarface's old gang gets little people to dress up as Scarface to drive Wesker crazy.
Yeah! And then they kidnap Lucius Fox. Don't know how they found Lucius Fox. So they can get the bear bonds. Like, this whole episode is just... Oh, why is it still happening?
And Scarface just pistol whipped Lucius Fox. Here we are in the vault to get the bonds.
Yeah, guys, I've checked out of this episode. I can't do this again.
Correct me if I'm wrong. I'm not a connoisseur on how like the actual bonds work, but like those would be useless to them, wouldn't they? Like,
no, because they're not like they're not savings bonds. They're not like bonds like you and I. Like I was gifted savings bonds when I was a kid.
Mm-hmm.
They're bearer bonds, and I've looked it up before because it was a really popular trope in the 80s to be like, oh, like fucking Die Hard uses bearer bonds.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Beverly Hills Cop uses bearer bonds. But it's basically they're bonds the way we would think of them, but they're not for anybody. They're not assigned to anybody. They're just blank.
Okay. So you could steal them and just...
Yeah, and that's why, I mean, because he says the line, they're untraceable, easy money. And that's why, like, they were always, as a trope, it was used as, for, like, drug smugglers and shit. Because then it eliminates the paper trail. So you don't have to launder the money because it's a bearer bond. You just redeem it.
Okay.
Like, how much that's truth in, like, the real world... But it was a trope.
The more you know, everybody.
Mm-hmm.
If we can't talk about an entertaining TV show, we might as well teach people more.
Yeah. You student inlets want to trip an alarm.
This is longer than the first one.
Yeah, I know, right? And then it's the whole trope again of, I'm in a safe with a bomb. How's Batman gonna survive? I know, I'll just blow up a different part of the building. Like, that's the other thing I thought of, where it's like, it's still in the building, Bruce. You're just destroying somebody's office.
Yeah, but his office is on the other side, so he's good. Like,
hope no one was there. Hope no one was working late.
That's the real story here. The guy's just like, need to catch up my
janitor,
paperwork.
or the janitor.
No, I just want like a regular guy sitting in the desk. You gotta catch up on all this shit. What the fuck?
Calling guns Roscoe's. I don't know what that's all about. I was playing possum, laying low till the heat was off.
I love how he grabs the hand
and slaps himself.
Because that was a little thing they did in even an animated series.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because he's a puppet.
Well, yeah, but it was a great little like addition. And this is why you don't follow murderous puppets.
It's true. You should follow murderous clowns.
At least they'll do it for the joke. Scarface is dead.
Not yet. He will be. He's still talking. This is also the thing, too, where like we're getting a lot more Batman and Batgirl.
I feel like they lean a lot into the Bat family of it all.
Yeah. Yeah, because like next episode's all Nightwing, or heavy on Nightwing.
Yeah, I think the next episode is real Nightwing,
and
there's been a lot of Batman and Robin, and less Batman by himself, and more like the extended family.
Yeah.
Which, other than Nightwing, is fine.
He's playing you like a cheap fiddle. Do him already. Oh.
Come on, Wesker. Do it.
And I haven't checked, and I'm assuming if this is the last Ventriloquist episode we ever get, I'm fine with that. Like, I am not happy, but like if this is him becoming certifiably sane, that's fine.
This was just funny to me.
Yeah. But that's just it, because that's where I'm like, it's not like that's the first time Scarface has ever gotten chewed up.
It's like, so the first time, the first time we got Scarface, it was his origin, he becomes crime boss, blah, blah, and it was a good story.
I think Wesker just likes puppet-sized people. Why else do you do that? Like, that was a specific choice. It's animation. You're not drawing it once.
Wesker has a kink.
And that face, that fucking hair is awful, though. Fucking garbage.
So I was going to say, what I was saying was, we got the origin. It was a good episode. It was fun.
Yeah.
And then he brought him back, and that was entertaining as well.
Yeah.
And I feel like either if you don't have a good idea, then don't do him again, because he can very easily fall down that let's do the same story over and over.
And that's just it. Like, this even was a good idea. The whole Wesker, it gets rehabilitated, and then, you know, the thugs don't want to let him go because they're not smart enough to pull crime by themselves.
Yeah.
That's a fine conceit. I just don't like what they did with it.
But even, I'm saying after this.
Yes, that's what I said.
Because
this is the last one ever, that's fine.
Because the first one was really good for what it was. The second one was really good for what it was. Because that was Wesker being like, I got out, and now I created another one, and we're going to do it again, which is fine. It's not the best, but whatever. And then this one, like you said. But now, after this, it's just like, okay, so you're basically going to have to do one of those three again unless you have a really good idea.
Right.
All right, Joe. Where can people find you on the internet?
JoePank.com, JoePanc.com. Oh, my Twitch is on there. All kinds of fun stuff's on there. Links and whatnot. You can... Oh, fuck. Let me stay awake.
Falling asleep, everybody.
You can also go to... and this isn't even a late-night recording. You can also go to Twitter.com. EnjoyYourFrozenDick.com. That's what I was going to say. EnjoyYourFrozenDick.com. You can also go follow me on Twitter at Cthulhu Holmes or Joe Pank. You can follow me on Instagram at JoePank36. You can go visit Clix Nexus. By the time this comes out, Clixule will have been over for quite a while. But if you're a gamer, if you play HeroClix, or if you just like, you know, Batman and stuff, it's a perfectly good site for you. And we're going to hopefully start doing more giveaways this year. So, you know, check it out. See if it's up your alley. And if it's not, that's cool. No worries.
And for the record, everybody, for Clixule, he did give away Batman the Animated Series Clix pieces.
I did. It's true.
I tried to convince him to just give them to me and say fuck his Patreons, but he's a good person, so he didn't do that. You can find me at Fortress Chris on Twitter, or at chrisrunt.com, or fortresscomicnews.com. Everybody, if you are listening to us on a podcatcher, give us a 5-star review, or whatever metric your podcatcher uses to rate, please rate us. It helps get to more listeners. And if you are on the YouTube, to like, subscribe, share, comment down below, so that we can talk with you. Because then I'll tell you why you're right or wrong about something, or whatever. Maybe just say hi, and I say hi back. It's cool. So everybody, thank you so much for listening. And we will see you next week.
I want puppet-sized people to be a kink on FetLife.com.